Okay, so this one is really sneaky. There are some abilities here for the audience or for the spectator to make some choices, and they are real choices. The spectator really can choose what kind of coin to use for the effect out of a handful of coins. There might even be a sense in which if someone has a pocket of loose change, that you could use their money to do it. So now, there is an obvious way to accomplish this. And the problem with that is that if we use the obvious way to accomplish it, then there's no choice. And that's okay, because the way we're going to do this is that there's actually multiple opportunities to use any particular coin. And that's really a major portion of the trick, is that a spectator could pick any coin to use, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to do the same trick depending on the coin that they use. So I have one penetration to do that is prepared here and set up covertly during our time, with the spectators. Just during a meal, you can set it up using a quarter. And I've got a penetration that can use a penny, and I've got a penetration using a dime. So the key is to not do everything, but only do one thing based on the choice of the spectator. And thereby making this look absolutely impossible, because really it is impossible. To do the penetration that I showed you by the method that I did it, I wouldn't really be able to use any coin. I'd have to use a quarter for that one. So depending on what they ask for, you have to do something different. So this, for a couple of these penetrations, and I'll show you each one that I had set up here, and this really is honest. I had everything set up to do whatever. The basic premise here for a couple of these is the concept of fluted glass. So a glass that you use would have to have some etching on it around the base of the glass, and you can see this glass here has some etching in it that goes down as a fluted glass, so that you can see into it such that it looks empty. The glass appears empty, but you can't really make out everything that's in it, particularly what's at the bottom of the glass. In this glass here, the glass does appear to be empty for the most part. Now, if you look really hard, you would see an object in there, but it is not apparent. And to anybody sitting at regular table height, they would not see what was in the glass unless they were sitting in my position, sitting right over top of the glass. And there is a quarter sitting at the base of the glass. But the fluted nature of the base and the thick bottom makes that quarter essentially invisible. It really can't be noticed or seen in there, even with light shining on it from where you're sitting across the table. So I've got that one. Then another one I have over here is a very different penetration, and there's a little dime sitting on the saucer underneath the coffee cup over here, or underneath the teacup. So I've got an opportunity for 3 different penetrations here that are preset, and depending on what the spectator says, I can do one of them. Now, the biggest problem with this is that you have to have, some restraint. Okay, so if you're going to do just one of these, you have to have enough restraint to not do the other 2 and give up that portion of the method. So there is choice, but the choice determines the trick. And that's how you're able to make this so clean. So the coin vanish part of it on the other side of the penetration is that it's quite simple. You just pretend to pick up a coin. It's just that. So you can't get more stupid easy than that. And actually, this isn't really cheating so much in that a lot of coin magic revolves around false transfers and a false acquisition of a coin. So that's what we're doing, and it's easy to do from a handful of change to pretend to pick something up. And if you're fluid with your motion, this is not really caught on to. By the time anybody pays attention to the fact that you have nothing in your hand, the business is already done. Now, the nice thing about this is that I can keep my hand fairly clean from the edge of the cup, from the glass, and it makes it even more magical. So that's the quarter, which is the one that you saw in the example. Of course, the quarter was just sitting in the glass the whole time. At some point during the meal, my glass would have been emptied, and I would have been able to sneak this in here over the top of discussion that's going on, and I would just be able to set that out there at some point, right in front of people. Nobody knows that it's coming. So this would be at a time before any tricks are being done that you make a setup. And that could sit there for quite some time. And if somebody notices that there's a coin in it, you could do something different. Say, wow, I think there's a coin sitting underneath it right there, but that's interesting. But, just come up with something to cover yourself up. It's kind of like if you make a mistake on a trick, following up the mistake with any kind of revelation is better than just having a mistake. Okay, so there's always a way to cover. Just use your head. The other one that I have here is with a penny sitting inside of this glass, and it's just the same trick. They would say, use a penny. You'd say, okay, that's fine. I'll use a penny, pick it up, and you do the same kind of thing, and it looks just as amazing to hit the bottom of this stemmed glass and have a penny fly out of it. And to them, they chose a coin and you made it work. So that's how that one works. And then all you have to do is add the coin back to your mess of coins. I found that if you have at least 3 of each denomination, it's confusing enough that you can't tell that nothing's been taken away and that something extra has been added. The third one that I had set up over here is a dime sitting underneath the cup. And this is very simple. You just say, okay, check this out. The first thing, you'd have to set your coins down. The first thing that you do is you would turn your cup over and you give total cover and you set it on top of the saucer. Now, one subtlety here would be to reach over with hands wide open when you do this. So you would reach over and you'd say, check this out, and you turn the saucer over on top of your dime. You pretend to pick up a dime, and then you do this and you hear that sound going on inside, okay? And then you can present by dumping the dime out that it has gone through. Now, this seems awful silly and awful simple, and it is, and the best tricks usually are quite simple and silly. So it's very off-putting to have choice in the matter and then see a penetration done that is so clean without any obvious sleight of hand going on. So there you go. That's that one. I don't know if I stumped you. I made this tutorial before I saw the comments, but hopefully you were caught up on the idea that there was free selection in there, and I was able to make the penetration work. So, good luck with that one, and don't be afraid to try something like this. It really doesn't take any practice. It just takes a little bit of forethought in some setup. And you can really do it with just 2 denominations of coin if you wanted to. Even if you had more than that, say I've got dimes, pennies, and quarters, and just set up a couple of things and not cover every single coin. And hopefully they'll pick one of the 2 that you have set up. And if they don't, all you have to say is, well, actually, this will look better if I do it with a quarter and then do the penetration. It'll still be just as amazing even if you did that. So that's my idea for you, a simple coin penetration that looks quite powerful and off-putting, a dinner table kind of setting. So there you have it. Good luck with that, and happy magicking.